My name is Yvette. I agree that if being a caregiver was an accredited profession, the number and quality of caregivers in the system would improve. There are misconceptions that being a caregiver to foster children is an easy cash grab when that is not the case at all. Being a caregiver to foster children is a big responsibility and it should be treated as such. Having it as an accredited profession would, in my opinion, weed out any people who aren't passionate about providing a safe and healthy environment for foster children. I do agree that if being a caregiver within the foster care system was an accredited profession, that uh, more people would be inclined to actually put their best foot forward when becoming a caregiver for children who have just recently been removed from their homes. Having being a caregiver an accredited profession gives people room to actually put their best foot forward in providing a safe and healthy environment for children who have trauma. And a lot of the foster kids who are within the system are more than likely dealing with some type of trauma. So if we have caregiving as an accredited profession, this means that we can provide these caregivers with the proper training, whether that be training in trauma, whether that be training in some type of cognitive behavioral help for these foster youth, that they will be more than likely to actually provide the help that these children need. Because being a caregiver to foster children is not an easy task, nor should it be treated as an easy task. These are children that need help in every aspect of their lives. And so, of course, they should be evaluated to make sure that they are upholding the standards of being a caregiver.
Hello, my name is Amanda. I agree with this quote. I think that it's not really fair the way that they approve kinship placements. In my experience, my stepdad couldn't get approved for me to live with him because he had a criminal record that was probably just about as old as I was, so about 10 years old. And I couldn't go with him because he'd been to jail for something. And I think the way that they approve placement is a little like very strict in a way, especially if it's family members. I feel like if it's your family, they should not be so scrutinized on on certain things, like especially if it does no harm to the child specifically. So I feel like things shouldn't be so strict if it doesn't affect the child directly, like whatever the criminal record is, or even other small things. Like there's different things that relatives don't get approved for, and then they place you in a foster home that has all these things, and oh, they have a clean record, but I feel like, in my opinion, just because you don't have a clean record doesn't mean that you haven't done anything. So I think that knowing that the placements are limited, I feel like they should be more open to placing kids with their family. Um, I feel like something minor, like an old criminal history, shouldn't stop that kid from being placed with a relative, because them being with that relative could impact their life in a way more positive way than them going through 8 foster homes like I've been through. Had I have just been able to go with my dad, then I feel like my my life would have been different now.
Hi, my name is Trey. I think going to kin could be good and bad, depending. I say this because I had an option to go with my father, my biological father. And though that sounds great and amazing and worthwhile and probably a better choice than going into the system, in me and my sister's mind, it wasn't, because the past relationship we've had with our father. So it's not always the best fit just because they're blood. Now, on the other hand, we had uncles, we had cousins and aunts, and they were all overlooked because they were not immediate family or technically blood relatives. So I mean, there's different aspects of it. I've had friends who was in foster care who went with their grandma's best friend or went with their uncle's or mom's best friend, that they've known all their lives because the relationship and bond that they had was almost as real as being biologically related. So, and in saying that, I don't disagree with going to kin. I actually would agree going to kin other than foster care. I was separated, so obviously I didn't like foster care. Foster care wasn't good for me. It wasn't as great as it was for my other siblings, or it wasn't as bad as it was for my other siblings. The decision to go with kin, I feel like, should be placed with the child, not with the judge, not with the social worker, not with the foster agency. And why I say that is because they don't know what happened to that kid or what happened to the foster youth or with the family or what past they have or beefs they have or falling outs they have. You never know. You just got to talk to the youth. You got to understand them. You got to know where they're coming from. You got to be willing to have a conversation, an adult conversation with a kid. And it sounds crazy,